curious now.
Yeah, no, please not.
And ready.
All right. So I really just wanted to visit with you and hear a little bit about your story about like when we first met and the kind of the state of being you were in at that point. And then fast forward, I don't know, how many years have been now? 5?
3, 4?
3? No, come on. It's gotta be more
Almost 4. I guess 4, yeah. We met in 2016.
Yeah, and kind of a snapshot in comparison to how you're feeling now.
Yeah. All right, you ready? Yeah, so I was living in California at the time and working a full-time job, and knew I wanted to develop or learn a little bit more about yoga. I really didn't think I wanted to teach at all. I was like adamant about not doing that. But I knew I wanted to do the training and just kind of learn more, grow more, see what I could do. So I came to y'all and probably this time last year, like December of, or not last year, but December of 2015, maybe. And yeah, fell in love with Inner Evolution and knew that's where I wanted to do my training. But I think I didn't realize it then until I started going through the training, just how much I hadn't really processed over the years or really dealt with. The sort of running joke with all of the students was I would like cry every weekend, which, you know, up until then I was like, oh, I'm not a crier. I don't cry, like never do it, which is probably why I cried for 10 straight weekends. Yeah, it was a very, well, I'll get to that, I guess, but I have had chronic pain since 2009, probably even before, but that's when it really like started and never went away.
Where specifically?
Everywhere. So it started in the neck and jaw. In the teacher training, it started, or probably was already there, but in my like hip and leg and foot. I had some stuff with my foot for years. You know, and I had no one ever found anything. Like I had scans done, I went to physical therapy, that never really helped. For my foot, I was put in an orthotic, and this is all, you know, I'm 20 at the time when it all started and a little older. And I've been given pain pills and injections and all the things, acupuncture, massage, all of it. I guess that came a little later, but definitely more of the Western medicine approach for a long time, and nothing was helping. Yeah, and then I started yoga, and the training was very humbling because I looked healthy and fit-ish, and I couldn't do anything. And not just in yoga, but I think, you know, chronic pain is a really scary way of like messing with what you start to believe mentally in your body, what you're capable of, what you can't do. And some of it's true. Sometimes I did have days where the pain was truly bad enough where I couldn't hike 6 miles or whatever. But I think now, and we'll get to where I am now, but I'm realizing a lot of that was bullshit. Am I allowed to say shit on this? We'll find out.
The R rating on this one.
I'll try to keep it PG-13 at least. Leave the F-bombs out, but no promises. So children, get off of YouTube, go outside. But yeah. Can we keep going? I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good snapshot. So you started practicing, you were going through the teacher training, a lot of emotional stuff was coming up to deal with. And at the time, did you correlate any of that with the pain you were currently feeling, or?
Not at all. I guess for a little background for people who don't know me, so Phil, lovely Phil here, was not only my yoga teacher, but like he was doing Thai massage with me and just a really good like mentor in the time. And I remember you like planting those little seeds of like emotions being stored in your body, and I was like, no, that's so dumb, Phil. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You know, I came from a very medical background. I was doing research. I was a scientist. Everything had to have like a cold, hard, provable fact. So I was like, emotions in your body, that's crazy. Like, I don't have that, because I didn't have I think when you start to delve into all this trauma and chronic pain and what that looks like I didn't have a traumatic upbringing. I didn't, my parents were married and loved each other and we had a really great childhood, but I think there were things that still happened as I got older that I wasn't really adept or taught to deal with. Like, yeah, that's just not something my family talked about, is like hard emotions or depression or having anxiety, until, my mom got older and she started to realize some of this stuff too in herself. And then it became a little more like open dialogue, but growing up it wasn't. That's really hard as a teen when you already feel like, oh, teen angst and everything is against me, and you have all these like hormones rushing through you, and then to add pain on top of that.
Yeah, that's, I mean, for anybody that's had chronic pain, you just know how different life feels for you, how drastically it impacts everything you do, from smiling to rolling out of bed to brushing your teeth, going to the bathroom. I mean, things that people that don't have that to deal with have no concept or idea. The enormity of this sensation echoing in your mind and body.
My mind and body. That's because I think I started sharing my journey of like having chronic pain and trying to talk more openly about that, because I didn't for a long time, because I didn't really like get it. I still sometimes feel like I don't get it, but yeah, like the physical aspect of it really sucked for me. But I think it's that mind, like all day, every day, you're just living in this little bubble of like, this hurts. And then there's a lot of concern and worry, which we can talk about. But it's this fear of, what is it? Is it ever going to go away? Am I ever going to be normal? Will I be a good yoga teacher? I can't even do half of these things, or at least I think I can't. All these questions that are just constantly playing in your mind. I think that was, as I started to heal and like get rid of some of that pain, I never realized how much effort went to that. All day, every day, worrying about it, thinking about it, contemplating like, what's the next thing I can do and try and whatever.
So was there a moment or a class or a technique that specifically opened the door for you to start questioning that, or did it kind of just gradually unfold as you stepped into this inner evolution and this path of self-discovery and whatnot?
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about that today, of like, assuming what you would or ask me, and how did I get here? Like, what is my answer? I'm like, I don't know. Still, it feels like I'm still in it.
Yeah.
But I think, and we live in such a culture, and I'm guilty of this, where we just want a quick fix. Not even a quick fix. I was beyond that. I knew that wasn't a thing for me, but I wanted a one thing fix, right? I want to be able to get acupuncture and be healed, or one thing. And I think that's been my biggest lesson, is it's not one thing for me. That doesn't mean other people with chronic pain can't go to the chiropractor and have zero pain for weeks at a time. For me, it's like a whole day of stuff to keep me in check with my own body, my own mind, so that it slowly heals itself.
That's so awesome. I'm so glad you said that, because you're 100% right. We live in this like, Amazon Prime community.
Now.
You can get it today.
Yep. Easy, fast.
2 days from now, and it's ours. And the body doesn't really work that way. It's not Amazon Prime. It takes more than 2 days to shift and change some of the habits and conditions we've been putting on our body for years and years and years. And then that can be so discouraging when you're like, well, what do you mean I have to do this? Why can't I just be healed?
Yeah.
Why do I have to go through this every day? It's just not fair. And that spirals us into this whole
yeah, then you're back in that
dark space. Yeah.
dark tunnel of why, why me? And I think, yeah, I wish I could say like everybody try magnesium or what, what I've tried it ever. I've tried it all. For me, right now, I think that will also change over time, but like right now, yoga, of course, is still huge. And less of the physical asana practice of yoga. And just like most people, I got into it for like physical reasons. I wanted to like get back into my like dance body shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
But over time I realized like there's this whole other world of yoga, and that's really where this shit happens. Like, where you start to shift your mindset and your body can heal while you're still working on your body. But so yeah, yoga, Thai massage, that's how this kind of all came about. For those that don't know, I've now moved, unfortunately, so Phil is no longer doing my Thai massage. But yeah, I got into a conversation with my current Thai guy, and he just, this sort of like aha moment of, I remember a moment, it wasn't like the cure all be all, but I remember I came in Revolution, you were there, and like it was like after class, maybe in the middle of the day, I was in so much pain. I remember we couldn't even like get up the stairs, so we just laid on the floor downstairs, and you held my head for 2 hours. That's all you did, was hold my neck, and I breathed. That was it. Like, that was it. And I remember that moment, maybe not in the moment even realizing how impactful that would be. But I think that's what I love about Thai massage, is it's an active thing. Like, and that's important to me in my healing, not just like, okay, I'm gonna go sit there. Like, I went to the chiropractor today. Every now and then I try to convince myself that it's helpful. I'm not sure it is. I went today, and it's like, you do all these things on me, and I don't really get it, and I don't know that it helps. And I also had no participation in it. And I think that's been a really wild part of this journey, is like realizing that I do have a lot of power to fix myself, advocate for what I need, whether that's at work or in my relationship or whatever in my life. Like, you've got to try probably a million things to find the 5 things that really work for you. And then you got to make that happen. You can't be ashamed of it. You can't be embarrassed. You can, but shouldn't really let it go to the back burner. It's hard. It's hard to keep it all going, but it's necessary.
What are the top 3 of your 5 things right now that keep you sane and floating?
That's a good question. I think my number one, that's so hard.
No, it's hard to decide, right? It's hard to.
Currently, waking up when my alarm goes off. Like, I noticed my pain is worse in the morning because I've slept and not moved all night. So it's really easy to like lie in bed and think about, ooh, my foot hurts, ooh, my neck hurts, and then start that worry cycle, versus like get up and get moving and it's fine. So that's been a really big thing. I've been trying to like get up and move immediately. So, either a few rounds of sun salutation, or like whatever, rolling around on the floor with my dog, like whatever it is, just moving. Because I think that just sits there all night. And then I like carry that through. Like, I'm not a morning workout person. I'd rather work out in the evening, but I like carry that all day. And then by the time I go to the gym or do whatever, I'm like, oh, I feel better. Like, do that 8 hours earlier. So. Yeah.
All right. That's the top one. What's the next?
1 and 1.5, I guess. It was so hard. I think number 2 is like a big umbrella one for me, but just taking care of me. So I think this past year I've realized that I'm like a highly sensitive person. HSP is what they call them. So like, not that I'm very outgoing, I love people, but really big crowds and like lots of sounds and lights, and like a really busy city or whatever, any kind of like new environment is really overwhelming for me. And not that I don't, and not that I don't want to try those things and do them. Like, that's no way to live life. but I think incorporating more downtime after those things, or prep time, pre that thing, where I know I'm gonna need quiet time, gonna need like to eat well, and just place more things in order that keep my nervous system like, okay, you got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think that's a testament to your commitment to getting better. Like I think sometimes we get stuck in these little ruts where we say we want to get better, but our actions don't demonstrate the true statement. You know, we're still doing the same things that we did previously. And so once we have that aha moment, that awakening, and recognize like, oh, yeah, when I get up and move in the morning, I feel good. When I take time to prepare for the wild and crazy, I do much better with it. And I just want to commend you for that, because that's huge, and that's just a huge, that's a mature practice. You know, that's not a yoga practice of a beginner.
Yeah.
That is an advanced practitioner right there, who can see into deeper layers of what's going on, and as I mentioned before, not just seeing, but then crafting the proper response.
Yeah.
Or like, how am I going to feel? I feel like crap in the morning. What's the proper response? I need to move right away.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't snooze like 50 times. I got to go. So that's fantastic. I think, and just to answer, or maybe not answer your question, but just make a comment. You know, I too have had chronic pain in my back for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm happy to report that it's the best that it's ever been.
Woo!
Yeah, it's awesome. So great. But it's not gone.
Yeah.
It's still something I
Probably will be. You're like, one day, but maybe not, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the third?
Third. I think under number 2 would also be more rest time, like going in hand in hand with taking care of just allowing myself more rest instead of that like constant do Amazon 2-day package mindset of like, gotta go, gotta have the next thing, especially this time of year, you know, everyone's like, oh, I have to go to my work Christmas party and this social thing. And you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any of it. And like, there are things that I've missed because I know I can't do 4 social things in a 4-day period. I can't anymore. I don't feel good. My pain gets worse. I'm anxious. I'm angry. And then it's a vicious cycle. So rest. Man, number 3, there's so many things. Movement, rest. Probably nature. That's been a really key one for me, even in the winter.
Yeah, how does that work in the winter?
I know people forget you can still go outside. I'm like, yes, it is cold, but we've got crazy things called coats and gloves and mitts and hats.
What are those things you put on your?
Yeah, especially in California, I know y'all are like bundled up in 60-degree weather. But yeah, there he is. I'm surprised you don't have like a park on. But yeah, I think just earlier before we got on this call, I like was feeling kind of like I ate lunch late, I was sort of like in that fog zone. Like, I'm just gonna go for a walk. Like, I have an hour till I talk to Phil. I'm gonna bring the dog on a walk, and I feel so much better. Like breathing fresh air, moving again. It's a movement thing. But I don't know. I think you get to slow down. Like, I could have easily spent that hour like scrolling on the phone on the couch or watching TV. And there is a time and a place for all of that. But I think for me, less of that is appealing. You know, every time I like get on Instagram, after like 2 minutes, I'm like, ugh, I'm sad, or like, or not doing enough, or whatever. Why am I here on Instagram? So,
yeah,
movement, rest, nature.
Those are great.
You know, yeah.
You also have been rocking out your meditation practice.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't talk about that. Yeah. So I stopped my insight timer. I don't know if you've noticed. You're tracking me. We can talk about that too. But are you there? Can you still see me?
I can still see you. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it will be a year in March. So whatever that is, like.
That's awesome.
10 months? 10 months?
Yeah, something like that.
9 months. Yeah, so I was doing it more like regimented, where that was my part of my morning routine of like get up, journal, meditate. But then I got lazy and I started like staying in bed and meditating, which was just like snoozing for 10 more minutes. So now I do it at night. So I journal and I move in the morning, and now I'm doing, and it's not every day either. I think that's why I stopped with Insight. It felt too goal oriented, and like I would open the app and like put the timer on and meditate for 10 minutes, but not really. So like for me, it just became this like, oh, I've got to reach this number on an app on my phone, not really like living the actual moment of meditating. So kind of let go of that. But yeah, that would probably be my number 4 is like quiet time, like different from rest. They can go hand in hand, but like spending even 2 minutes, if that's all you've got, but we all have more time than we want to admit. 5 minutes, 10 minutes sitting in silence. That doesn't mean you have to sit in lotus on the floor in front of your tapestry.
Really?
I know, crazy. Like I do in the shower. I'll like sit in the shower before I get in, or like before I put the water on, and like that's my me time. That no one is around, no one needs me. I'm not on my phone. I'm not worried about, oh, I have to still do this, this, and this today or tomorrow or whatever. Just 10 minutes to like. I think we don't give ourselves enough time to be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think we value the quiet, that it's become a if you're not, I don't know, I always drives me crazy when people are like, you gotta go, you gotta grind, you gotta like do all this
hustle.
stuff.
You gotta hustle. And I'm like,
yeah. Like, I mean, I'm definitely not for being lazy, but I'm also for crafting a life that is enjoyable. And I mean, if you like to go, that's a different story. But if you feel like you have to go, and then you're feeling guilty the moment you take a break, and that guilt starts to make you feel kind of crappy, and then that feeling, it just is like this ripple effect goes out through others. So I really value or desire, little mantra that I like to use is easy is good. So I want things to happen easy for me. I don't want to have to like grind to make this happen. I don't want this to be like this huge headache. I just want it to flow like from that state of meditation, or like that walk out in nature. It's not, there's effort involved, but it's not like killing you to make it happen. It's, for me, this last year has been a big surrender to that, because I'm taking care of the kids, but then I want to be writing, I want to be doing programming, I want to be like studying, I want to do more Thai massage, and so it's this constant like, what are my priorities, and then being true to those priorities. And every time I take that step back and really become true to those priorities, like it just gets easier. But I think I'm hoping to talk a lot more about this, like discovering self-values and what that means for different people, and maybe even like providing a way for people to figure that out for themselves. Maybe 2020 will have that in store. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's been the biggest part of this is like I think I spent so long searching for an answer outside of myself. Like I wanted a doctor to tell me this is what you got, or I wanted someone to tell me something. And I think I'm at a point. So my word for 2020 is acceptance. So realizing that the pain will probably always be here to some degree, and just accepting that. And I think the harder you fight it and the harder you like push against it, then you're still giving the pain more attention and energy and focus. So it's going to stay there and probably worse, or not better at least. I think just, yeah, accepting, like, it's not a bad thing. It's taught me a lot of really great lessons. It led me to yoga, led me down the path like holistic health. And I get to share that with people. And I got a little off topic, but I think the whole reason is like, you've got to figure out what works for you. No one, even as a health and wellness coach, I can't come and look at you and be like, you need to do yoga and lift weights and eat kimchi. I can't tell you. I don't know. And I think what works for me may not work for you. What worked for you 2 months ago may not work for you. You know, I think it's an ever changing, it's an evolution. Yeah.
It's one big happy experiment.
Yep.
What would you like if somebody is struggling to find answers for themselves on their own personal healing journey? What would you say to them, like, to give them hope?
I think the easiest way to put it's not easy, but like do more of what feels good. Like it's simple, but not easy.
Nutella on the couch and Netflix and just like,
if that feels good in the moment, sure. Like maybe don't do that every night. But we know, and that's the thing, right? Like we know what is good for us. We know what's bad. And I don't like even using the words good and bad. Like when referring to good food and bad food, there is no such thing really, but you know what food is healthier for you and it's going to fuel your brain and your body.
Yeah.
And you know what food is going to make you feel like shit. Like if you eat Chick-fil-A every day, probably going to feel like shit. But if you eat veggies and fruits and whole grains and nuts and seeds, you'll probably have energy to do all the other things you care about. But yeah, that's just been the big thing is like do more of what feels good for you, not for your Instagram influencer that you're watching, not for your friend. What do you like to do? Like I like to go outside, I like to hang out with my dog, I like to do yoga, but if you don't like any of those and they don't like sit true to you or sit well with you, don't do them.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's great. Like that would I would echo that, you know. Another way I think I could put it would be pay more attention to how you feel. So
yeah, I guess you should start there.
You know, like okay, when I hang out with these people, I feel like this afterwards. You know, oh, when I eat this, I feel like this. So if you start really studying your life, it is laden full of clues to. It may not point you in the right direction, but it'll definitely tell you you're going the wrong way.
Right. And I think that's what you've got in order to like, let's say this is the right path, the wrong path. In order to get to the right one, there's going to be a lot of those like missteps or failures, if you want to look at them that way along the way. But I think the more clues you have, like, oh, that's not right for me, then you know what else to try. But if you're just stuck in this path of like, this isn't right for me, but I'm not willing to try anything else, or I don't even want to look at anything else, yeah, you're going to stay in pain or whatever, you know, anxious and a shitty job and a shitty marriage. None of that's going to change unless you think about it. But I really like what you said about being more aware of your feelings, because I think that has been a big part of this journey is, yeah, when you probably knew this before I knew this, but I was not in touch with my emotions, obviously. It's spewed out of me in yoga training. But yeah, I think, again, I wasn't raised, and I don't, it's nothing against my parents. I think it was just their generation. Like they didn't talk about mental health or what it looks like to be anxious or how to regulate that. Like just wasn't as big of a conversation as it is now. But yeah, I think I was almost 30 and I like didn't even really have a label for having anxiety. Like I didn't view it that way because it wasn't bad, I wasn't having panic attacks, it wasn't crazy, it still like functioned. But there's a whole spectrum of anxiety before you get to that point. So yeah, I think being able to label your feelings as to even like what they are. And yeah, really noticing when they come up. Like you said, we always talk about like scrolling Instagram and taking in like kind of what's the word, like curating your feed so that you're seeing only the things that make you feel good. But that's in real life too, right? Like I don't watch the news because I can't handle that right now. Like it's just too much. It's too much emotional shit for me. And that's a boundary I have. And if people want to sit and like talk about the news, I sometimes excuse myself from that because like I can't start that. So I think being really intentional of who you spend your time with, and setting boundaries with people and events and yourself, all of that.
I love it.
All of it. I wish it was one quick answer.
I think that's a great place to stop.
Cool.
To give people something to think about, and maybe my hope for this call would be that your story and experiences can help somebody else take the next step on their own healing journey and begin to shift and change. And it's an interesting thing to not necessarily admit that it might not get like 100% better, but you get stronger at dealing with it. You get better at holding space in the pain, in the discomfort, and that just creates a healing shift in you.
It really does. I think that is a very good point. We could talk for so much longer. I feel like.
Well, let's do this again. Let's do this again.
Yeah, and I would love to.
A
good stopping point.
Hold on one second.